I'm David, 38, senior software architect for a renewable energy firm in Seattle. Elena and I have been married for 9 years. We lived in a cedar and glass house on Queen and Hill with a view to sound that most people would kill for. On paper, we were the couple everyone posted about, the one who still held hands at parties, who finished each other's sentences, who threw the annual summer barbecue that people begged to be invited to. But paper lies. For the last 2 years, Elena had been climbing the ladder at her marketing agency faster than anyone expected. Late nights turned into overnight client retreats. Weekends away became the norm. I told myself it was temporary. I cooked dinner and left it warming in the oven. I stopped asking where she'd been because the answers always sounded rehearsed. I watered her orchids when she forgot. I became very good at pretending. I didn't notice the distance growing between us like frost on a window pane. The agency's holiday gala was held at the Four Seasons downtown. Black tie, open bar, the kind of event where partners are paraded like trophies. Elena had spent weeks planning her speech. She was being named partner, the youngest in the firm's history. She wanted the night to be perfect. She got her wish until the last 30 seconds. She was at the podium, radiant in emerald silk, thanking the senior partners, thanking her team, thanking the love of my life, David, who has supported me every step of the way. The room erupted in applause. Cameras flashed. I stood when she gestured toward me, smiling the way you're supposed to smile when your spouse is being celebrated. Then she said it, and I want to take a moment to thank someone else who's been incredibly important this year. Ryan, could you stand up? A man at the next table rose, tall, early 30s, the kind of effortless confidence that comes from private school rowing teams and trust funds. Ryan Caldwell, creative director, the one whose name had started appearing in her phone notifications more often than mine. He lifted his glass toward Elena with a private smile that lasted half a second too long. The applause continued, but something inside me clicked into place. She kept talking. Ryan and I have spent countless hours together on the Meridian campaign, the one that just won gold at Cannes. He's pushed me, challenged me, believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. Honestly, I don't think I'd be standing here without him. More applause, louder this time. I felt the room tilt, not because she thanked a colleague. That would have been normal. But the way she said his name, soft, grateful, almost reverent, carried a weight the entire head table recognized. I saw in the quick glances, the raised eyebrows, the way Ryan's wife, seated 2 chairs away from me, stared at her lap. Elena raised her glass higher. To new beginnings, she said, looking straight at Ryan. The toast rippled through the room. Glasses clinked. People cheered. That's when I stood again. Not dramatically. I didn't knock over my chair. I simply placed my napkin on the table, walked the 8 steps to the podium, and waited until the quartet stopped playing. Elena turned, still glowing. David, come say a few words. I took the microphone from her hand. Our fingers brushed. Hers were ice cold. I looked out to sea of faces, colleagues, friends, strangers, and spoke calmly. Congratulations on the promotion, Elena. And congratulations on finally being honest. A murmur spread. I turned to her. You spent months telling me the late nights were work. You told me the trips were necessary. You told me I was imagining things when I asked why Ryan's name was on your phone at 2 a.m. You told me I was insecure, controlling, paranoid. Her face drained of color. I kept my voice level. Tonight you thanked the love of your life, meaning me, and then 30 seconds later, looked at another man and toasted new beginnings, in front of 300 people, in front of his wife. Ryan sat down slowly. I looked at Elena's boss, then at the senior partners. I'm sorry your celebration has been interrupted, but I won't sit quietly while my marriage is ended publicly for the sake of a speech. I turned back to Elena. I loved you with everything I had. I dimmed my own light, so yours could shine brighter. I told myself your happiness was my happiness. But happiness built on someone else's silence isn't happiness. It's just performance. Her lips parted, but no sound came. I handed the microphone back to her. Good luck with the new beginning. I walked off the stage. No one stopped me. No one clapped. The silence followed me all the way to the coat check. Outside, the December air hit my face like cold water. I stood on the sidewalk in my tuxedo, watching my breath cloud, feeling strangely light. I didn't cry. Not then. The collapse came later. I drove home to our empty house. The orchids on the kitchen island were drooping. I sat on the couch we'd picked out together in Portland 6 years ago and stared at the Christmas tree we hadn't finished decorating. The lights blinked in slow rhythm, half-strung, like they'd given up too. Around 2 a.m., my phone started blowing up. Texts from mutual friends. Are you okay? What happened? Call me when you can. Then one from Elena. Please come back. We need to talk. I didn't answer. At 4 a.m. she came home. I heard the garage door, the soft click of her heels on hardwood. She stood in the doorway of the living room, mascara streaked, hair falling out of its elegant twist. David, she whispered. I didn't mean it like that. I looked at her for a long moment. Then how did you mean it? She crossed the room and sat on the ottoman across from me, knees together, hands clasped like she was at a job interview. Ryan and I, it's complicated. Uncomplicated. She exhaled. We've been seeing each other for 7 months. It started as emotional support during the meridian pitch. Then it became more. I didn't plan it. I never wanted to hurt you. But you did. I know. Her voice cracked. I kept thinking I could compartmentalize. That I could have both. That you'd never need to know. I laughed once, quietly. You thought I'd never need to know that my wife was in love with someone else? I don't know if I'm in love with him, she said quickly. I'm confused. I'm scared. The promotion, the pressure. Ryan made me feel alive again. You and I, we become so comfortable. Safe. Predictable. The word predictable landed like a slap. I thought safe was what marriage was. I said, it is. It should be. But I started craving excitement. Validation. I told myself I deserved it after working so hard. And I was the safe background to come home to when the excitement wore off. She looked down. That's not fair. Isn't it true? Silence. Finally, I don't know what I want anymore. I nodded slowly. But I do. I stood. I want someone who chooses me every day. Not someone who keeps me as a backup plan until something shinier comes along. I want a partner, not a performer. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I'm sorry, she said. I know that doesn't fix anything. It doesn't. What happens now? I'll stay at my brother's place for a while. We'll talk through lawyers about the house, the accounts, everything else. I'm not going to fight you for things. I just want out. She reached for my hand. I stepped back. Don't. She nodded, wiping her face. I went upstairs, packed a duffel with clothes and my laptop, and left before sunrise. The first month was brutal. I slept poorly. I lost 12 pounds. I replayed her speech in my head on loop, searching for earlier signs I'd missed. I questioned every memory. Was our honeymoon laughter real? Did she ever love me, or was I always a reliable choice? My brother, Mark, let me crash in his spare room in Bellevue. He didn't offer advice unless I asked. Mostly he made coffee and went running with me at 6 a.m. even though he hates mornings. Work became my anchor. I threw myself into a new microgrid project, staying late, volunteering for the hardest problems. My boss noticed, pulled me aside, asked if everything was okay. I told him my marriage had ended. He didn't pry, just said, take the time you need. Your work is stronger than ever. Slowly, the fog lifted. I started therapy, something I'd always dismissed as unnecessary. My therapist, Dr. Patel, was a calm, no-nonsense woman in her 50s who called me on my avoidance patterns within 10 minutes. You dimmed yourself for her, she said during our third session. Why? I didn't have an answer at first. Then, weeks later, I thought love meant sacrifice, that if I gave enough, she'd never leave. And when she left anyway, it felt like proof I hadn't given enough. That's not love, Dr. Patel said gently. That's martyrdom. The word hit hard. I began reclaiming pieces of myself I'd set aside. I signed up for the climbing gym membership. I canceled when Elena said it took too much time. I cooked meals just for me, spicy things she'd never liked. I read fiction again instead of only industry reports. I went to concerts alone and discovered I enjoyed my own company. One Sunday in March, 4 months after the gala, I ran into Ryan's wife, Claire, at the farmer's market in Capitol Hill. She looked tired but composed. We stood awkwardly by the flower stall. "I heard what you said that night," she told me quietly. "Thank you." It forced everything into the open. Ryan moved out 2 weeks later. "I'm sorry," I said. "Don't be." "I'm relieved." I'd been pretending too. We talked for 20 minutes. No drama. Just two people acknowledging they'd been lied to by the people they trusted most. She wished me well and walked away with her tulips. That conversation closed something in me. Elena reached out a few times, emails apologizing, asking if we could meet for coffee as friends. I replied politely once. I wished her happiness, but I wasn't ready, and maybe never would be. She stopped writing after that. The divorce was finalized in July. We split assets evenly. She kept most of the furniture. I kept my books and the espresso machine. No one fought. I moved into a one-bedroom loft in Fremont with tall windows and a small balcony. I bought new dishes. I hung art I loved instead of what matched the couch. Some nights I still feel the ache, a dull reminder in my chest when a song we love comes on. But it's no longer sharp. I learned something essential that night at the Four Seasons, and in the months that followed. Dignity isn't loud. It doesn't demand applause. It simply refuses to beg for a place at someone else's table when you deserve to be the whole meal. If you're watching this and you recognize yourself in my story, if you're dimming your light, making excuses, swallowing discomfort to keep the peace, please hear me. You are not the backup plan. You are not the safe background. You are the main character of your own life. And anyone who treats you as less doesn't deserve the privilege of your love. It hurts to walk away. It hurts more to stay and disappear. I'm still healing. Some days are better than others. But I wake up every morning in a bed that's mine, in a life that's mine, breathing air that doesn't taste like pretense. That's enough for now. And one day, it will be more than enough. Thank you for listening.